Greetings, fellow mortals. Yes, saying it's just my opinion is for cowards. I will always stand by that. So criticize me to your heart's content. But guess what? I get to do the same. But because the internet is disingenuous and has the least generous readings to anything anyone has ever said, do not harass Rachel Zegler. In fact, don't even speak to her in any way on the internet. I almost don't even want people to talk about her. Like I always say, speaking about the thing that you hate only gives it more power. But here's the thing, I don't hate this actress. What she says doesn't bother me at all, other than making me completely perplexed about what she is doing during the promotion of her movie. She's constantly demeaning the original film. Why? What are you doing? Is this really going to get her points in Hollywood or something? I know that we live in a weird time where everyone has to peacock to look like a moral person, but there are definitely steps that are way too far to the point that it actively hurts you. For the love of God, even Anita Sarkeesian knew better than this. She built an entire career on hating things she did not understand, thus getting hate views from many different people and establishing her in the gaming industry. At least that makes sense. I can't say that this does. The actress is literally squatting down and taking a dump on her own project, on her own work, on her own source of income, and no one is coming up to stop her. What are you even doing? Stop it. This is going to actively hurt your movie. It is already in a bad place.
No.
Alright, I'm not going to sit here and defend Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs as the greatest story ever told. I always thought that was pretty boring. It was kind of just messing around for an hour and a half. The pacing is all over the place. As a little boy, I think I sat through it once because a female friend asked me to. At the same time, I have to acknowledge the success that it is. It is, in fact, Disney's first animated movie. There were no computers to help with this. It's all hand-drawn. The music and voice acting were done with equipment that's almost a century old. I have stuff in 2023 and my audio isn't that good. The artwork, animation, and colors are amazing, and its story is a product of its time. Yes, it's about an evil queen that's jealous of Snow White's beauty. She is spared, protected, and saved by men. It's stale, to say the least, but it is really, really old. This is like complaining about an old book not meeting our ethical and politically correct standards of today. I mean, this would be like banning Mark Twain's books because characters say terms and names which are bad, even though, it's portrayed as bad to say those things even in those novels. I mean, banning that would be stupid. Some things just need to be respected for what they achieved back in the day, because nothing made even in this year is going to be accepted in 20 years for changing standards. When good movies are actually the norm again. It feels wrong criticizing this film, but Snow White is very passive as a character. She's just kind of there to look pretty and be kind. Yes, we know that. There have literally been jokes about the old princess movies since I've been born. My first memories of this mockery actually came from Shrek, and there are others, but having Fiona beat an amazing fighter was a great twist on an old trope. Yes, we can acknowledge the past is the past. Time to move on to something new. Snow White paved the way. It's the foundation. Accept it, move on, build something new. It's like someone that's writing fantasy, like me, taking a big old dump on Tolkien. Guess what? That's only going to make your fan base mad. We do live in the nostalgia bait era. You just have to accept it and move on and do the best with it. These live action remakes are going to keep coming, and they're just going to keep getting worse. At least this one has a more reasonable budget, reportedly between $100 million and $150 million. A lot better than some of the other films that have been coming out. At least the barrier to break even is smaller than $500 million. But that also makes me question why in the flying hell would they risk pissing off fans when they could really use a win with these projects? Most of their movies have been struggling lately. Why would you shoot yourself in the foot?
To bottom. Wow! Oh, my foot! What? Genius, but a...
Zegler must have been given the green light for all this, unless part of the strike has made communication close to impossible from studios to actors, which, if that's the case, I would bet that there are a lot of people not happy with this actress right about now. But I doubt communication is that cut off, meaning she was told that it was okay to do. There's hate marketing and there's actively telling people not to watch your film. There's a difference. One gets you a bunch of views and money like Velma admittedly did. The other ends up with a loss of money like the 2016 Ghostbusters. Now you might think that I'm jumping the gun a bit here with my logic, but I would disagree. Let me ask you, who wants to watch these live-action Disney remakes? It's not the kids. They don't care. They're not jumping for joy over this. They don't care about Snow White. And men weren't going to see this unless they're a massive fan or get dragged by their girlfriend. So that leaves grown Disney fan women as the target audience. People who actually like Snow White. So why are you throwing so much shade at the film that your fans adore?
That does not make sense.
This film might be the single hardest one to actually get people to care about. Even Cruella makes at least a little bit more sense, and that movie is where the protagonist skins dogs. Snow White isn't anyone's favorite movie, but it's also one of the most well-known, and Disney is just going down the list at this point. Cinderella has been redone 5 billion different times. Maleficent was already made. That only leaves one of the old princesses. What's next after this? Oliver and Company? Bolt? The Aristocats? Oh my god, you know what? That last one might work. But the funny thing is that this might be the easiest of the old films to modify. You can keep a lot of the beat by beats the same. Instead of wanting to kill Snow White for her beauty, have the evil queen want to kill Snow White to ensure her authority in the land. Instead of being spared, Snow White notices the assassins coming for her. Multiple men come after her to kill her. She manages to use her knowledge of the woods to escape them. Knowing that she has to fight against the evil queen, she travels through the magical forest in search for famous warriors. She finds the dwarves and uses her charm and promises of wealth to get them to side with her. Then they gather allies, starting with the prince's army because he's smitten with her, but she just assumes that it's because of her looks. After a bunch of bonding, training, talking, and growing the army, there is a giant confrontation between the two forces. Snow White stays back to act as commander and as a medic for all of the injured. You could give her healing magic in contrast to the evil queen's dark magic. During the conflict, the evil queen manages to sneak up on Snow White and poison her, with only pure unselfish love being able to wake Snow White from being catatonic. Nothing anyone can do will awaken Snow White even after the evil queen is killed, because they all want something from her, but not the prince. He values her for herself. Instead of kissing her, he spends weeks trying to nurse her back to health. Right when everyone is sure the spell will kill her, she awakens from a small gesture done by the prince. He could do something as small as getting her a blanket without thinking about it because he realizes that she's cold. Or he could do a big promise to always stand by her no matter what, even if she's like this for the rest of her life. And you do all this because romance still sells. People still want it in their movies. Snow White realizes that the prince values her for more than her looks, her wealth, and her status. Snow White becomes smitten with him. They court and eventually marry in a kingdom where the magical people from the forest are accepted. And you can do a small discrimination storyline with the dwarves being hated, just to try to appease the haters. It won't work, but reasonable people will see what you're trying to do. People will still be mad because dwarves are magical creatures that exist, in this magical world. They do exist. It's what the movie is based around. You just have to go with it, even if it can be an offensive term in real life. Blech. And if someone in the real world uses it as a term to make fun of someone that's different, then that person is an asshole and should all face our scorn.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
While promoting this movie, all they need to say is that they appreciate the foundation that Snow White has given them. Rachel, this is your big break because your filmography is surprisingly small for getting this. Shazam 2? Really? You don't have any pull yet. You don't draw money. People who draw money are the ones who get to say whatever they want. Or some nobody on the internet can do it too. But people trying to be successful in Hollywood, you should probably shut up before every studio secretly blacklists you for being an absolute moron. So even if you hate the animated film, compliment it. Say how grateful you are that it exists, that you want to show respect to it by giving a more political drama edge to it. Go Game of Thrones. There you go. Promote it like that. Even give a little hint that'll be a little bit more risque. I mean, obviously those elements won't actually be in the film. It's a Disney movie, for crying out loud. But you can lie to men to trick them to get them into the door. What are they going to do if they're disappointed? Complain to their girlfriend about not seeing other naked women? Good luck with that.
I sleep in a racing car. Do you?
I sleep in a big bed with my wife.
It doesn't seem that hard. It kind of feels like everyone in Hollywood has lost their mind. Just be like Barbie. Say that everyone is going to love the movie. Smile and promise a good time. Don't spit on the brand that is drawing in the money. Imagine if the actors, trailers, and movie for Barbie actively hated on the actual character of Barbie for even existing. That would not have ended well. You don't even have to be that charismatic or that outgoing. Just smile and be polite to people. You're promoting a film. Do you want it to be successful? Do you want money? Do you want to be rich and famous and a movie star? Then you gotta do this. It's basic 101 for this. Instead, everything and everyone about this movie seems to be actively hating the fans and the fact that Snow White even exists. So, what's the point? What's the point of doing this other than the fact that Disney has to keep making content? If you can't make the best of a terrible situation, then what's the point? Why are you even trying? Just stop and go back home and don't do this ever again. You're welcome to disagree with me. That's fine. After all, everyone is entitled to their objectively wrong opinion.
Nobody cares. Nice hat.
Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and to continue the discussion in the comment section. And please consider giving my books Above Heaven, Dance of Frozen Death, and Vows of Blood and Honor, which will be released in September, a chance. I appreciate you. Do not despair.